Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hippie Moms podcast. I'm so glad you're with us. And I am so honored to have our beautiful, conscious, and enlightened being with us today, Lisset King. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. What an honor.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. And you know what? We've really been in the spirit lately of healing ourselves and becoming more aware of how trauma impacts us. And before we get into all the good things, we would love to learn about you a little more and how you got in to bringing this work to humanity.
Yes, oh, it would be an honor. I've been a lifelong searcher, seeker. I've been on the path of, first of all, I was very lost. I spent the first 26 years of my life very asleep, just non-player character, just milling about the earth, not quite knowing what I was doing or why I was here. Yet there was a fire inside, like something was burning. And I discovered, my first personal development seminar when I was 26 years old. And it just turned the lights on for me. It made me realize, like, first of all, it doesn't have to be this way. Like, I can take control of my mind, and taking control of my mind can then help me take control of my reality. And while all those lessons were beautiful and we know them, and now they're common knowledge, definitely they're showing up all over our algorithm. I still was carrying so much baggage. So I'm here, I am taking action, but it kept falling. I kept falling on my face with that action because my baggage would come up. Things would just keep stopping me. I would find myself in the wrong relationship, or still, working hard at a job that I hated because that's all I thought I could create. And it was 2017 where I rediscovered neuro-linguistic programming. And I learned from my teacher, Dr. Matt James. And what it was for me, it was the first time that I was given an answer and an opportunity to actually let go of the baggage. Like, I learned this process called the breakthrough process. And what it did was, first of all, I finally felt like I had an owner's manual for my unconscious mind. Like, oh, this thing runs the same in everyone. We just need to turn it around. We just need to turn that ship around and to let the baggage come to the surface so that we can release it. And once I did that and the healing work there, I was able to actually take right action. So all of a sudden, they say in my school, you either have a baggage problem or you have an action problem.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. And if you have baggage, it doesn't matter how much action you take. So I learned how to do this because it was life-changing for me. I was like, when I can help people remove their baggage, there's no limit to what you can create, because we all know what to do. Like, it's out there. The information is out there. We have so much knowledge. We are in the information age. However, how do you even take action when you're depressed, when you don't feel good enough, when you're a recovering perfectionist? You're like, I can't take action until everything's perfect. All of those things will stop you. They'll put the brakes on your action. And then you just, like, that's what happens. People keep falling on their face. So my favorite people are people who have a mission, leaders, people that want to make a big impact. I was like, oh, that's easy. You just have a little baggage in the way. And we can, in one sitting, in one day, we can let it all go and change the trajectory of your life. And it's not to say life isn't going to be lifey, because it always is,
Life isn't going to be lifey.
Yeah, it's
So
always
true.
going to be what it is. And you're going to, like, those challenges, like, true growth happens on the edge of support and challenge. Like, we need the challenge to grow. So we're not ever going to be without challenge, but when you're facing the new challenge without the old baggage, like, it just changes everything that's possible. So, my own personal story was, I was struggling. I struggled with addiction for a very long time. I had childhood trauma, as many of us do, like some abuse and sexual abuse and things that I had no way of dealing with it. And, we could talk to a therapist, and
Yeah.
picking it up over and over. And all of a sudden we're like, okay, well, I know where the problem is, but the problem's still there.
Yeah.
And so I dealt with it. I self-medicated a lot. I
Mhm.
drank a lot. I smoked a lot of pot. I did a lot of things of that nature. And when I discovered this work, my first breakthrough was on health. And I stopped, like, I put a pause on all of my toxic habits. I actually just like stopped smoking cigarettes. I stopped drinking excessively.
Mhm.
There was like smoking pot constantly, to like all those things, all those crutches. I no longer needed them.
Wow.
And I was able to, the first step of any growth is like going, okay, I need to stop doing the bad things. So
Yeah.
then you need to start doing the good things.
Mhm.
And I've then again, I did a breakthrough on career, was able to take my business to the next level. Like I went from like, I don't know what I'm doing, to, my first 6-figure year. And I was like, yay, like it felt so incredible to just know that when you can let go of that baggage and like actually heal from those wounds. Now I can talk about the things that happened to me, as they were part of my story. They're important. I can help
Mm.
those people now. Like I'm grateful that I went through the abuse and things I went through, because now I can talk to those people and let
Mm.
them know there's another side.
That is so beautiful. It's such a gift to be able to talk to so many people and to bring, stories, because it is so relatable, and everyone that I've met that has had like that is really shining in their light has had these really dark moments. And whether it be health or, physical abuse, sexual abuse, like all these things. And everyone that I meet that's truly like, that finds himself on the other side. And of course, there's no end, right? We never arrive. There's always
Yeah.
more expansion. But they come out, and so much I hear is like, I'm so grateful for everything that's happened. And sitting on your side, Lizette, it's so beautiful. And at the same time, for other people that haven't moved through it, they're like, I can't, I'm not grateful for this. This
Mhm.
literally haunts me every day, and you can see it. So what are like some of the first, obviously working with you is something that they can move to, but what are
Yeah.
some of the first things that they can, I don't know, like simple steps or awarenesses or practices, things that can help them, move,
Mhm.
start to move their energy to
Mhm.
to release the baggage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first step of the first like half of the breakthrough is a detailed personal history. And what that looks like is laying out your life on paper, like laying it
Mm.
on the line and just going, hey, all of this happened. And there's a level of acceptance. There's definitely anger, and there's sadness, and there's frustration as stuff is coming up. And that's not to say the first time something happened, you weren't a victim. As a child, that should not have happened to a child.
Mhm.
I was absolutely a victim. So it's not to say that that's not true. However, what did you make up about yourself, others,
Mm.
and the world in that first moment that you're still playing out?
Oh, because you
Because
really, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because that person or those people, they hurt you during that time. And for it to happen over and over and over again, and the way that it's reflecting in your current reality,
Mhm.
you are a co-creator in that. And that's not, again, that's not to blame you for where you are. It's to take ownership and
Yeah.
to take responsibility and go, okay, I don't have to feel this way today. So it's
Mm.
like an acceptance and acknowledgement, and a realization of what is the story you're still playing out in your life. What
Mm.
is the major narrative that no matter what, when something terrible happens, you get to be right about it. And
Mm.
oftentimes it's something like, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough,
Mhm.
the world is unsafe. Like if you're going around the world with the world is unsafe lenses, your reticular activating system, the genius of an algorithm that is your mind and your unconscious mind will seek that pattern recognition over and over and over again.
Wow. It reminds me of this quote. It's like, we're not responsible for all the things, or it's not our fault that the things that have happened to us when we were a child and these experiences, yet it's like you said, it's our responsibility and almost like this opportunity to heal. And in that healing, we almost get the gift of that contrast, right? To come out on the other side and to begin seeing the world through a new lens. And that's ultimately what you're doing, right? Is you're clearing this smudgy filtered lens that you can't see the world clearly through. It's like wearing a pair of glasses that don't even belong to you.
Yes.
Right? So we're like clearing them so you can see clearer. But it can be scary for people because are you reliving that trauma, or are you reliving it? Are you processing? What is happening as you move through that kind of that lifespan?
Yeah, the beauty of my work is that you don't have to relive the trauma, but you do have to, it's helpful for you to have an awareness and to see and to go, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing my child mind made up that became my unconscious narrative. And when you can go, oh, I can see that moment when I was, violated as a child, I thought the world was unsafe and I thought people were going to use me. So I decided I would use people first, or I would just give myself away to people so that no one could take advantage. You can't take advantage of me if I just give myself to you. So I'm just never going to say no. Like that's a little kid doing its best to make sense of the world that can be so that's a challenging thing to wrap your brain around as a child, like, wow, that happened. So how do I make it make sense? It's the first thing they're doing. And they make up a story. The thing is that story runs nonstop. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you don't remove that root of the weed, it will take over your whole garden.
Yeah. And I think that's why, it's what I love so much about this work and like just being in the space with moms is because, as you know, like when we heal ourselves, like we heal our children and our children's children. And like we're literally like creating a brand new world with the healing of ourselves. And as much as I love talking about like, eat this, don't eat that, go organic, like all that's great. I mean, yeah, it's important to like nourish yourselves and all the things, Lisette, as you know, I love food.
Yes.
And but it's like all that doesn't matter if you're looking through a smudged lens, because you're still you still won't be able to show up in your true authentic self. And isn't that what we're truly craving?
Yeah. Absolutely. We are, first thing I like to say is like, you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Yes. There's nothing wrong with you. Your mind did the best that it could. Your unconscious mind, you have your conscious mind, the goal setter, and you have your unconscious mind, the goal getter. It's doing its best. It has two jobs: to keep you safe, to keep you alive, right? To keep you alive and to make you right. Those are the two umbrella jobs that it has.
Wow. And
the safest thing that it knows is the thing that it has already survived. Which is how someone can come from abuse and end up in abusive relationships. Because they have gone, I know how to survive abuse. I don't know how to survive a healthy, loving relationship. I know how to survive a crazy, like working for someone who's terribly mean to me. I don't know what it's like to start my own business. So your unconscious mind is just protecting you. It's like, well, we have survived this. So let's keep doing this thing that we've survived instead of going after something new.
Ooh, chills. So powerful. And so really, your work is moving into the unconscious, or would you say subconscious and unconscious are the same things?
They're exactly the same
Okay.
thing. They're used interchangeably. The reason I prefer unconscious over subconscious is because subconscious kind of gives a hierarchy that it's below or under, and the truth is that no, it's actually just as big, if not bigger. It's your unconscious mind is the subconscious mind, but I like to think of your conscious mind. Imagine an ant, right? An ant that is like, I'm going that way. I'm going toward the love of my life, right? And it's marching full speed, but it's on the back of an elephant, which is your unconscious mind. And if your unconscious mind is like, well, I don't know healthy relationships. I know that I've survived an unhealthy relationship. I'm going to march in this direction. And if it's going in the opposite direction, it doesn't matter where your conscious mind is going, you're never going to get there if they're not in alignment with each other.
What a powerful analogy. And I really can like relate to that, because it is interesting. You know, our dream is to be authentic, to be healthy, our optimal selves. Yet we continue doing these things and these patterns and having these relationships that are so not in alignment with what it is we want. And then we're just like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And it's scary to end the thing that you're in. I always tell people, I'm like, here's my little warning before you do work with me. Your life will change. Like, imagine you have created a life based on a lens, whether that's unworthy, a lens.
Oh, a lens. Yeah.
So you're seeing the world through your glasses of I'm unworthy, or I'm unlovable, or anything. And you've created this reality, co-created this reality. You're player one in the whole reality game. And when you have let go of that thing, when you finally go, oh, I've had people go, that's silly. Did I really say I was unworthy? I was like, yeah, there's like 17 times I can show you the paper where you showed me all the ways that you wear that. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm so worthy. But then you wake up the next day and you're in the partnership that unworthiness created, and you have to leave it. You have to take the step, you have to take the action. The next is action. You've got to take the right action, or you hate your job, or you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not being treated respectfully. I have to get out of here. So I say it comes with, the warning is your life will change unless you don't want it to. You can always go back to your old ways, but once you're aware, it's not something you can unknow.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's why for so many people, it is scary to really do this type of healing, because when we create our lives through that lens, then we clear the lens. We're like, oh, I don't want, and not to say that, people, when we transform, people around us can transform energetically as well, but you can't just rely your whole existence on other people changing. So it's kind of, which I love that you give that disclaimer. I'm so curious, and you also do hypnosis. Can you, for those that aren't, we all heard like of hypnosis, but what is that? Almost like a technique to kind of retrain the unconscious mind? Okay.
Yes. I really want to demystify hypnosis.
Please.
Quickly.
Yeah.
We say a child can be hypnotized, right? Because all hypnosis is following directions. Okay. If you can follow directions, you can be hypnotized. Like that's probably the only disclaimer of it, is like, if for any reason there's a neurodivergence or things, like there's a possibility that could get in the way. However, if you could follow directions, you can be hypnotized, and you're being hypnotized all the time. If you're watching TV, like, you ever go on your Instagram, and all of a sudden an hour has passed by, you have put yourself in a hypnotic trance.
Makes me feel so good that I no longer have Facebook or Instagram or any social media on my phone or anywhere else. Yay!
Kudos. I'm proud of you.
But I understand that. And it's almost like we're being hypnotized, but then we're being fed information that doesn't serve us.
Exactly. So we're being put in a trance, and there's infinite ways to be put in a trance. You could be put in a trance through monotony. You could be put in a
Mhm.
trance, yeah, just like it's the same thing day in and day out. You're living through the same monotony. You ever just go, where did that month go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've been in a trance. You turn on Netflix and then it's just like, where did those 3 hours go? You've been in a trance.
Mm.
And what are you taking in
Mhm.
during that trance? So with hypnosis, when it's directed, we're getting you to relax your mind so deeply that you couldn't relax it anymore. Relax your body so deeply that you couldn't move your limbs if you wanted to. And also,
Mhm.
people can follow those directions, right? They can know how to
Yeah.
relax. And your unconscious mind, all it wants to do is follow orders. If you give it direct orders, it's like, I got you. Like, you ever on a mission and you just go, yeah, I need to go to the grocery store, I need to get food,
Mhm.
da, da, da. You're telling your unconscious mind, this is what we're doing. It is deleting anything that's not on your grocery list. Because if we don't delete and have give it a task, it's just going to be lost in the grocery store for hours. So your unconscious
Mm.
mind, when given directions, it'll listen. And so if we can get your mind so relaxed it'll just take in what I'm going to say for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And then you install good things. You
Mm, it
install, I'm a powerful, beautiful woman.
mm,
Everything always works out for me and it always will. Like,
mm.
and you're putting that in your mind while you're in trance. Now you're noticing, wow, I start to feel a little better.
I'm just so grateful that you brought up this, like, I mean, it's much bigger than I even thought of bringing up the hypnosis, but it's like, what are we feeding ourselves mentally? It's one thing what we eat, but like, what are we watching? What are we bringing in? And what are we allowing ourselves, even like the negative, gossipy conversations that maybe we get into, like, that is all like impacting us. And so I think one of the things, obviously, I love this hypnosis because it's almost like you're literally you're almost downloading new software into your operating system,
Yes. Hmm.
like software that's not obsolete, or that actually can serve us rather than the same loops and
Yeah.
stories. And I felt called to say this, but have you read The New Earth by Tolle?
Yes. Yes. Yes,
It's
I
so
have.
good. I've read it like 4 or 5 times, but one part he says, and it talks about he says worst things we can do is watch TV as we go to sleep.
Mm,
Like you said, because we are going into that trance state, and then whatever is being fed.
yeah.
So maybe there's like this free gift that you're offering us is like something that's more like a hypnosis meditation or something positive that we can start to install upgraded software. Is that what you recommend for is that what you help them do?
Absolutely. So yeah, the breakthrough process starts in phases. So
Okay.
first thing is like, let's bring up the baggage. The second one is we release the baggage, and that is
Mm-hmm.
it's technical. I do it the same way every time. People will always feel, more often than not, by the end of the day, they're like, oh my God, I feel incredible. Is this going to last? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it can. We're going to need you to fix your focus.
Mm-hmm.
What you focus on becomes your reality. And so I record a hypnosis track for each of my clients individualized to, now that we've released all that, we've weeded your garden, we've taken all the weeds out. What seeds do we want to plant? And I want you to
Mm-hmm.
listen to this for 30 days. Just put yourself in trance before you first imagine the first thing that happens when you wake up is you hear how amazing you are. You
Mm.
hear how worthy you are. You hear how everything you do makes a difference in the world, or things of that nature. And you're hearing, you're a badass.
Yeah.
You can get anything. Go slay your day. Whatever it is that is very specific to my clients, where you're listening to that in the first few minutes while you're still in that theta brainwave, because that is when you're most influential. Your kids are in theta from 0 to 5 to 7. Like they're
Yeah.
just so the reality that they're taking in is the reality. You have access to that space
Yeah.
several times a day. First thing when you wake up, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this. Like That's why he's like, get up at 4 a.m. because you're in theta and do a
Yeah.
meditation. But if you just get yourself in the first few minutes, and that's the first thing you hear before other stuff starts to race, before you start thinking about the shopping list, or, oh my
Oh
gosh,
my
I need to,
gosh.
my massive to-do list, I need to do this for the kids. Like, before that, you infuse good things into your mind, it just starts your day off better.
Girl, oh my gosh, like one of the things I used to do is wake up and get on my phone and scroll or check
Yeah.
my email. And then I would always feel this like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. There's so much to do. And then something would trigger me on social media, making, bringing up my unworthiness or something. I just remember it always felt like crap.
Yes.
And it makes so much sense. And I mean, even if that could change someone's life, if they would
Yeah.
just, take those moments in the morning and meditate or do a gratitude practice or do your hypnosis, right? Your free hypnosis gift that you're going to tell us
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
doing these things that can start to like shift our focus, like you said, because where our focus goes, it grows. So what do
Yes.
we want to grow?
What do we want to grow? That's
Yeah.
the first question to ask. And if you're looking for something, I have this wonderful teacher. He talks about, if you're looking for something to focus on, just ask, what do you want because you want it? Not because
Mm,
it solves a problem, not because it like will get you somewhere you've been wanting to go. Like, what do you
mm,
want because you want it? And oftentimes, especially like mothers, it's the last question we ask, right? It's
yeah,
like, what do I
definitely.
want because
Mm-hmm.
I want it?
Mm,
And if you're struggling to think of something, you could think, like, I want to live a life I love,
yeah.
and you can just start to focus on, like, what does a life that I love look like? You'll make different choices.
Oh
You'll
my
make different
gosh.
choices just on that. I want a big wedding. My wife and I eloped during right before lockdown.
Oh
And
wow.
so now we're moving into, like, oh, it's time to have our wedding with the family. And it's just like, what kind of wedding do we want because we want it?
Yes.
Not
Oh
because
man.
my parents would have loved this or whatnot,
Yeah.
we have to have it this way, and this order. It's like, no, what traditions do we want to do because we want to do it? And it's just such a fun question to ask.
I love that question because you're limitless. And how beautiful that you can begin to just be curious. Because I think you really hit the nail on the head. I mean, as moms, so much we just focus on keeping everyone alive, and the
Yeah.
household running and all the things that we miss. So many opportunities that we can like fill our own cup and do the things that we enjoy because for some reason, and I think this comes back to the worthiness and carrying baggage, we don't put that effort, that time, that focus on what really feeds our soul, that really brings us that lights us up. Instead, we're just like, I'm not worthy, or we have those stories, right, that you help people move through and release that keep us stuck in that like spin rather than being like, no, this is a brand new day. Like,
Yeah.
what a gift. And I can do anything. I can play my flute or hang in a hammock or make some yummy food or whatever it is, the things that bring me
Yeah.
joy. And it really does. It's because that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to be like happy and free we're the divine beings.
Yes. And play.
Yeah.
Like, there was it was really challenging, like, watching my mother grow up, because I watched her be an amazing mother,
Mhm.
right? I watched her be there for all of us. And there were moments I wish she would have been there for her. I
Mhm.
how inspiring is it when someone is living a life of joy?
It's
When these
everything.
people are your models at
Yeah.
life, they're like, what are you modeling? What did your parents model? Just like, that's one of the first places we go is, what did your parents model to you
Yeah.
about relationships?
Mhm.
What did they model to you about health? What did they model to you about career? What did they model to you about self-care?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you'll find those same models and those same patterns in you. if you haven't done your own work. Of course, you speak to a very elevated audience, so I'm sure they've all done a significant amount of work on themselves, but you can see it in your peers. You can see it on the people on the street, like they're just walking around in these unconscious programming.
Yeah.
It's not that there's anything wrong with them. They were just,
Mm-mm.
their unconscious mind has kept them alive till this point,
Yeah.
going back to what it knew to be true.
Oh, you know, and I think what's so beautiful about this conversation, you know, is there's so many moms that are raising kids between the ages of 0 and 5 when those unconscious minds are being created. And even my kids' unconscious minds have already been created, and they were created when in my unconsciousness, right?
Yeah.
And so there can be a lot of guilt and like shame around that. But I also see that even now, as I heal myself and I, you know, uplift my vibration and bring in joy, that heals them. And so no matter where you are in raising a child, wherever you are, you know, to move in and to move this baggage and to heal yourself, it's going to impact. And I said this earlier, your kids in future generations forever and ever. So it's like, it's being brave and courageous, you know, to really move and do this. And so, okay. So with that said, tell me about the free gift you have for our guests.
Yes, absolutely. So if when you go to my website,
Yeah.
lissetking.com, it's LISSETKING.com, there'll be a little pop-up window and it'll say your transformation starts today. Enter your email. And I'm giving away a free hypnosis track. And with that code, you can go to checkout and enter the code hypnosis22 and you'll get a free hypnosis track. And I say, just do it for 30 days. And see what happens. You've got nothing.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
12 and a half minutes. So 15 minutes of your day is 1% of your day. You've got 1% of your day to give to you, don't you?
Yes.
Exactly.
And now I have a lot more. Because but that's the beautiful thing. You start giving yourself and you start and being consistent, right? Being consistent and creating this time. Oh, that's how you truly see the changes in your life. It's not like one and done. I mean, right?
Yeah. Life gets lifey. Mercury's in retrograde, you know, all the things. There was eclipse season. Like I am as above, so below. We feel what's going on in the planets.
Definitely.
You know, and it's, are we riding the waves? Is that wave so big you need to dive underneath it? That's okay too. But the point is that you stick with consistency. Do the bare minimum of what it is to take care of yourself, because you're modeling that to people. So I like to just offer that. That's my free gift to people. I love for them to try it. I made one for money, one for career, one for relationships. It's for calling in sacred relationships. So if you're already partnered up, my wife listened to it and was like, I like it too. And I was like, okay, cool. She was like, it makes me just think of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. So, you guys are so cute. Like for real. I've got to meet them in person and I'm like the cutest couple ever.
Oh,
really. It's such an inspiration. And I love
sweet.
that, you know, it's, you get to kind of see what you really need. And then if they want to work with you, they can contact you on the website.
Absolutely. There's a little tab for Let's Talk, and you could just get on my calendar. I do a 1-hour free consultation. Whether we end up working together or not, I tell people you will feel better by the end of our conversation. I won't leave you without something, I promise. And yeah, that's my work just means everything to me. My ability to see not only what I've done in my own life, but my friends, my clients are living some of the most incredible, like they just didn't believe they could be in sacred relationship, let go of their baggage, or with like the most incredible partner. You know, I've seen people triple their income. I've seen people, you know, lose 15 pounds after like a health breakthrough within a month, like just like shed it, because they were just like, first of all, the weight you carry emotionally, it's the first thing to shed.
Which
And
is
it's,
so nice. And it's such a
yeah,
motivation for so many people.
yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
it's a representation of what we're carrying.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so there's just that's that's my offer, that I
Mm.
love to help people either way. And if it's a fit, if you care to sit in my chair, I
Mhm.
promise to get you somewhere magical. Like
That's
that's
beautiful.
definitely